Hi, this is Chad from Weekend Warrior Outdoors. I'm the actual owner of Weekend Warrior Outdoors. Over the years I've been selling kayaks, I've been getting a lot of questions about different models and shapes of kayaks in our showroom. So we decided to put a video together just to explain the different models to you. So we start off with our basic recreational kayaks. They're about 3 metres long, they weigh about 22 kilos, they hold about 120 kilos safely. So the sit-in kayak, you actually sit inside, so it's a little bit more stable than a sit on top. You've got adjustable footrests on the sit-in kayak. Your legs are a little bit more protected from the sun, you don't get as wet when you're paddling with this kayak. You're actually raised, like where you sit, you're a little bit higher. You're not actually sitting on the hull, so that when the water comes up and over, you're not actually sitting in the water. If you do flip this kayak, you've got to flip it back over and then try to get it, either bail it out or try to get it to shore and then bail it out. It's got a bulkhead at either end, so it will stay buoyant. But yeah, it's very stable. I can stand up in this kayak, and yeah, it's a good little recreational kayak. The sit on top, you've got your moulded in footrests with a number of rod holders. If water comes over this kayak, you will be sitting in a little bit of water, but that's part of kayaking. If you do flip this kayak, you can flip it back over and hop back on it and start paddling. With the seats, with both of them, the sit in to the sit on top, we use the same seat, the deluxe seat. Very comfy, nice and stiff, so it gives you good support when you're kayaking. The two top straps go forward to your D-rings, and your two bottom straps will go backwards to your D-rings. Okay, so that's the recreational kayaks. Now we're going to pan around to the fishing kayaks. So they're a little bit longer, a bit more stable, a bit wider. They've got a rudder on it, so it helps you steer. So with the top one, it's 3.3 metres. That's the great white. That holds about 160 kilos. It's got a good size hatch at the front, a hatch in the centre, another hatch. It's got a rudder to steer with. So this kayak is quite stable. I can stand up in it. It's good for inside waters. Outside waters, it goes okay, but it's a little bit wider at the front of the bow. So it does bob around and catch the wind a little bit. The winter leisure kayak is a nice fast kayak, nice and sleek, good for fishing, good for diving, good for spearfishing. A lot of people spearfishing come up on this kayak without it flipping because it's nice and easy. Same thing again, it's got the rudder to steer with. I can stand up in this kayak. It's 3.7 metres long. It holds about 150 to 160 kilos. Then the bottom kayak is the Big Mac. That's 4.3 metres long, holds up to about 180 kilos. You've got the rudder to steer with as well. This is a really fast kayak. It's more of a sit on top touring kayak. You've got plenty of storage in this kayak. Got a big hatch in the centre here, straight in front of you. This one's got a frame seat, really comfortable. It's also good if you've got sort of bad hips or knees, you're sitting up a little bit higher, so you're sort of sitting more in a chair, so that helps out. So yeah, for fishing kayaks, you usually go a little bit longer and a little bit wider, and they become a lot more stable and you have a lot more room on it. Now we come across to our sea kayaks, touring kayaks. You've got three sizes. Your 4.5 metre, you got your 5 metre, and you got another 5 metre here. The 4.5 metre is good for inside and touring. It's raised up at the bow here, so it does cut through the water. You're steering with a rudder, so you're using your feet to steer with. So you're sitting inside a kayak. So you're enclosed. You use a neoprene skirts to stop the water from coming in. So these kayaks are nice and fast, but they're not as stable as you sit on top kayaks. Once you get over the fear of falling out, and the quicker you paddle, the more stable it gets. The hardest thing is hopping in and out. That's when it's a little bit unstable. The 5 metre is faster than the 4.5 metre. It cuts through the chop and the swell a lot easier. So this is more of a sea kayak. I've raised the cockpit height up a little bit, so it makes it a little bit easier to hop in there. A lot of people find hopping into an enclosed kayak, it's a little bit hard to hop in. Also, being raised up a little bit more makes the water wash off a lot easier, so it doesn't go into your kayak. Then this kayak here, the bottom kayak, the R51, it's more for inside waters. It's more shaped like a racing ski. It's nice and flat, so it is a really good kayak. I have paddled this one out in the ocean on flat days, but if there's a bit of swell, you're better off going to the R50. Then down the bottom here, we've got the double sea kayak, touring kayak. It's a little bit wider than your single kayak, so it becomes a little bit more stable, but it's still nice and fast. You've got plenty of room on these kayaks. If you do ever flip these kayaks, you either got to do the Eskimo roll, or with the neoprene skirt, you just pull the front strap and the skirt comes off and you fall out of the cockpit. These kayaks won't sink. They've got bulkheads at either end. They will stay buoyant. Then you just have to bail it out if you do flip it over. With kayaking, you have to wear a life jacket nowadays for kayaking, but check with your local waterways to make sure what the rules and regulations are. So there's a couple of different types of life jackets. You've got your standard life jacket like your PDF 1, 2 and 3. They use zippers and buckles. Then you've got your inflatable jackets, which are either self-inflate or manual, automatic jackets. So if you fall in, most of the time if it's automatic will blow up. Under the self-inflate, you've got to pull the cord. So hopefully that explains a few things and answers your questions. Thank you for listening. Chad from Weekend Warrior Outdoors.